Okay, I'm going to break down 3 of my high-level tips. Then I'm going to go into the weeds about some of the nuances around each tip, obviously my car buying formula, and also I'll talk about new versus secondhand. And I'll give you as much information as I can from my own experience, and I'll have a coffee with you along the way. Okay, tip 1. I'm calling this the golden rule. If we step back and have a 30,000 foot view of the situation in your life, I don't want you to have more than 50% of your gross household income to be tied up in things with motors. So an example of that is, if you're a single household and you might have one income of $75,000, you don't want $37,500 worth of cars, motorbikes, boats. So it's a really good guide. If your household income is $90,000, that would be $45,000. And it's just a really good guide that's relative to your situation to stop you overspending on stuff that's going down in value. If your household income is $150,000, that's $75,000. Now, I will say, I used to say net income. I'm actually using gross now because it's just easier to work out in terms of the overall household income if there's 2 people. But if you did want to be even more conservative, you could be like, well, I get paid 80 grand, less tax is 60 grand take home. I'm using 50% of that, so 30,000. I just want you to have some type of golden rule in your life for stuff that is going down in value. So an example could be if there is a household income of $150,000, so 2 incomes, we don't want more than ideally $75,000 in stuff that's going down in value. So if we have a look here, I've got an example. Car 1 could be $15,000, car 2 could be $35,000, and then I've got a $25,000 caravan there. You might say, well, Glenn, I can't get a caravan for under $50,000. Okay, that's fine. You need to make a judgment call. If you want a caravan for your family, will you violate this golden rule? Now, there's a lot of people out there that, it was funny. Today I was actually showing a friend this. I was testing some screens and he saw this slide and he said, well, that's a BS rule, isn't it? I'm like, why? He goes, well, it's still way too much. I'm like, yeah, but this is an absolute limit, okay? There will be people who have a $200,000 household income and have cars and stuff worth $150,000, $200,000. You can do what you want, but if you want some type of guardrail in your life, this is what I personally use myself and this is what I teach. So it's just a really good guide. If you don't have the caravan, maybe you could have one car that's 30 and one car that's 35 and you're still under that threshold. Again, it's not hard and fast, but it's just a guide. My second tip is to be very clear on the type of car. I'm going to ask you a heap of questions and we'll talk about it. The first question, are you a spender or a saver? So just know, like me, I'm Glenn, I'm a recovering spender. If money's around, it will grow legs and it will get out there. So I know that I need some type of guardrails to stop me overspending on anything really. The second question is, how long will you need the car? How long have you owned your last cars? And I'll tell you why this is important soon. Who is it for and what is it for? So have you actually thought, we need this and it needs to be a compact SUV to put the dog in the back, or it needs to be a sedan because we want stuff in the boot that can't be seen? I want you to really ask yourself, are you after looks or practicalities? The challenging one when you're getting very clear on the car or even having to buy a car is it a need or is it a want? Are you just out there needing to spend some money, the car's fine, and you just want a new car? here's the challenge. Maybe you don't need it and you need to have a cold shower and get on with your life without it. I want to ask you, what is the trade-off? And I might swing back around to that. Are you a car person? So I'm a car person. I love cars. I'm always looking on Marketplace, car sales. I watch a heap of YouTube stuff. I love cars. So I need to know I'm a spender and I like cars. The longest I think I've owned a car or kept the one car is probably 4 years. I just love, getting a new car, and, I sold one recently and put that money into another one, and I just love cars. Okay. So that comes into it as well. Is it for business or private? We'll talk about a bit about that later, and also being aware of the EV FBT exemption that is out there. But I just want to talk about the trade-off, for example. Anything that we buy is a trade-off from something else in our financial life and our budget. So we've only got a pie, X amount, with money that comes in each month or each year, and that needs to be allocated. That's why I really want to get you pumped up about investing, so you can at least go, okay, we were going to buy a brand new $50,000 car. We're going to buy a second-hand one now, and maybe it's got less monthly payments, or we're going to pay with cash, and we're going to put the rest of the cash into investments. So what is the trade-off? What are you foregoing to get to your car to get the car that you want? Okay, and I think we need to say this stuff out loud. How long will you need the car, and how long have you kept the car for? I'll share a story later on around this, but I just wanted to plant that seed. My third tip is new is not always best. And what do I mean by that? Well, generally with new cars, there can be a high depreciation. It could be up to 60% in the first 4 years, like craziness, right? Warranty, it can be transferred, and you don't have to service your car at a dealership. I bought a second-hand car. It was a Lexus IS350 F Sport. I think I paid $42,000 with that. It was second-hand at the time, and I had a warranty issue, and I got the warranty issue fixed. It was fixed under warranty, and I didn't have the car serviced at Lexus. So don't believe the hype that you have to have your car serviced at the dealer. Don't believe that I need to buy brand new to keep the warranty, because often they will transfer. New doesn't always mean safer. So if you thought that getting a brand new car meant that you are getting the safest car because I need to have the safest car and whatnot, if you have that logic, you would need to buy a brand new car every year. Okay? Now, the reason that new is always not necessarily safer is because when they make cars, they make them on platforms. And I'll use an example. The shape of Lexus that I had, it started in 2013. And I actually had, my first Lexus was a 2013 IS350. And, I think I swapped it out and got some other cars. And then the last Lexus I had was a 2017 model. Now, that car was on the same platform, but just because it was a 2017 model didn't mean that it was safer, because it was on the same platform as the 2013. They just done a little facelift. They put new bumper bars on, new lights, and literally gave the car a facelift. And what actually happened, I think in the early 20s, Lexus did another refresh, and it was a bigger facelift, and they did tweak the interior. But that car they stopped selling it in Australia because it didn't meet the current safety standards in Australia, because it was still based on the 2013 platform. So new is not always safer, categorically. When buying secondhand, I'm a big believer that 3 to 4 years old with maybe up to 60,000 kilometers could be the sweet spot. Working out an amount of kilometers that's probably reasonable could be 15 to 20,000 kilometers per year. That could be a reasonable guide. Now, the thing is, if you do go down new car territory, you could be tempted to buy more car than you need or can afford, and you get upsold, you get emotional, you get car fever, and guess what? New cars, they still get dented, they still get scratched, they still get stone chipped. You still run the rims across the divider in the road on Parramatta Road when a truck's merging over. Just ask me. This is primarily why I don't buy brand new cars myself, because they just get trashed anyway. Hey, it's Glenn here. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You made it to the end. Can I ask a favor? Can you hit that like button and maybe hit subscribe if you want to get notified when we release further videos just like this one, whether you watch the Money, Money, Money podcast or Retire Right. And remember, if you want to learn more about investing, I've got an investing book, The Quick Start Guide to Investing, and there's a link in the description to get your hands on a copy. Thank you so much. Bye.